Hey guys, welcome back. So today we'll be comparing negative integers. And as a reminder, remember that integers are going to be your positive numbers, the number 0, and your negative numbers. These are going to be your integers. And integers can be placed on a number line just like we have here. If you are comparing two negative numbers or two negative integers, for an example, -5 and -9, which integer or which negative number is greater? And -5 is going to be greater because -5 is closer to 0. So when you are comparing two negative numbers, the number that is closest to 0 is always going to be greater. And as you can see, -5 is closer to 0 than -9, so -5 is greater. What about -4 and -4? If we are comparing these two numbers here, and of course, we can say that -4 equals -4. What about -2 and -10? Which number is greater? By comparing these two numbers, -2 is going to be greater than -10 because -2 is closer to 0 than -10. What about -18 and -14? Which number here is greater? And based on this example here, -14 is greater than -18. Or you may say -18 is less than -14. So -14 is greater than -18, or -18 is less than -14 because -14 is closer to 0 than -18. What about -26 and -30? Which number here is greater? And the number that's greater here is going to be -26 because -26 is closer to 0 than -30. What if you had -7 and -5? Which number here is greater? The greater number here is going to be -5. -5 is greater than -7. What if you had -7 and 0? Which number here is greater between -7 and 0? And the number that's larger is going to be 0. All right, so 0 will always be greater than a negative number, but less than a positive number. -5 and -5. In this example here, we see that -5 equals -5. What about -100 and -1000? Which number here is greater between the two? And the number that's greater is going to be -100 because remember, -100 is closer to 0 than -1000. What about -500 and -200? Which number here is greater? The largest number here is going to be -200 because -200 is closer to 0 than -500. -432 and -434. The largest number here is going to be -432. And if you're seeing it on a number line, -432 is closer to 0 than -434. What about -9 and -3? Which number here is greater? The larger number here is going to be -3 because -3 is here, and then -9 will be down here. So -3 is closer to 0 than -9. What about -6 and -1? If you're comparing these two numbers, -1 is greater than -6. On a number line, -1 is here, and then -6 will be down here. And as you can see, -1 is closer to 0, which makes it greater than -6. Let's look at these examples here. So we have a -1005 and -1110. Which number here is greater? And the larger number here is going to be -1005. -2026 and then -2300. Which number here is greater? The larger number here is going to be -2026. -5000 and -4998. -4998 is greater than -5000. -3005 and -4005. -3005 is greater than -4005 because -3005 is closer to 0 than -4005. Let's look at this example here, -320 and -300. In this example, -300 is greater than -320. negative 16 and negative 13. Negative 13 is greater than negative 16 because negative 13 is closer to 0 than negative 16. What about negative 12 and negative 15? In this example here, negative 12 is greater than negative 15. And then what about negative 29 and negative 30? And in this example here, between my negative 29 and 30, negative 29 is greater than negative 30 because negative 29 is closer to 0 than negative 30. All right, so that is all for today, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.